Where are you going? We haven't even started. Punchlines and plot twists. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to the Punchlines and Plot Twist official podcast. I'm your host, Caleb.
I'm your co-host, Slim.
And today we are going to be getting into our Punchlines episode. That's going to be our UFC breakdown from Carlos Prates versus Ian Machado Garry. Last night that went down. We're going to give you our honest reviews and takes of some of the fights that happened that night. Overall, it was a pretty good card. And then we are going to get into next week's fight, which is going to be in Des Moines. And that is going to be Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. And we will give you our breakdowns and predictions for all of those fights coming up as well. Last night was an interesting night for sure. The prelims were phenomenal. Truly spectacular prelims. No complaints there.
Yeah, let me actually scroll down here really quick.
The
Who was that?
The night started with Jocelyn Edwards knocking out Chelsea Chandler in the first round.
Timmy Kuwamba with the flying knee.
And then Timmy Kuwamba
out of nowhere
knocked out Roberto Romero in the second round.
As the underdog, too.
Yeah.
As the underdog.
That was something that threw my pick, one of my picks off. I had picked Roberto Romero.
I think I did, too.
But Timmy Kuwamba put on a hell of a show. And that flying knee was absolutely brutal.
This was just timed really good, too.
Yep.
Hit him right, like, square on the chin.
Yeah.
Right out.
Yep. Straight to sleep. And then next was Jacqueline Armim versus Polyana Viviana, where Jacqueline Armim submitted Viana in the second round. A pretty good fight. Not a whole lot to say here on this one, though.
I think Viana got ragdolled.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't much of a
It was
fight,
exactly what I
honestly.
expected to happen kind of in this fight. I wanted Polyana to put up a little bit more fight on the mat, but Jacqueline's takedowns were just too good, and her wrestling was just too much for Viana.
Let me talk about the next one.
Yeah,
I just want to say something. So it's Malcolm Wellmaker and Cameron Simon. I had Cameron. I was wrong. You were telling me Wellmaker had it.
Yep. I had gotten talked into Wellmaker.
I know Wellmaker had it. I didn't think he'd come off like in his debut like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally says on ESPN right here, final TKO, victory by punch.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
Victory by punch.
And it was a highlight reel knockout probably of the night from Malcolm Wellmaker. I had underestimated Malcolm Wellmaker, but I hadn't watched a ton of film on him. And I had picked Cameron Simon during our last episode. But I was listening to some other podcasts that do UFC predictions and some other guys that knew Malcolm Wellmaker and talked very highly of him. And they kind of talked me into him. And I watched a little bit. I was able to find a little bit more film on him, and I became very confident that he was going to have a stellar performance. And I rode with him, and I'm very glad I did. Had a Malcolm Wellmaker round 1 KO prop hit twice. I doubled down on it.
Well, if you look at the stats after the fight, what I think's most impressive, he has 1 knockdown, 6 total strikes, 4 strikes to the body, 1 to the leg, 1 strike hit to his head, and that's the one that sent him flying.
Yeah.
Insane power.
Yeah, and he's precise. He didn't get hit a lot. Cameron Simon threw 18 total strikes. Only 9 of them landed. Malcolm Wellmaker was countering really well, and he was very elusive and hard to hit for Cameron Simon.
They both landed 50% of their strikes.
Yeah, it was a really good fight until Malcolm Wellmaker just uncorked that.
Yeah, he saw his
opening
opportunity and just fucking
took it.
Smoked him.
Well done, Malcolm Wellmaker. Smoked Cameron Simon in the first round.
Yeah, he put me on.
Then Damon Blackshear took on Altan Hali, and he won by decision. Damon Blackshear did. We were both riding pretty hard on a Damon Blackshear submission, but unfortunately that didn't happen. He still had a pretty dominant performance over Haley.
Oh, yeah, it was still a great fight. He was piecing him on the feet.
I was surprised Damon did not try to initiate more wrestling and didn't keep it on the ground or take it to the ground once Haley initiated some takedowns.
He didn't. He made him earn his paycheck.
But he put on a showcase on the feet for sure, and showed that's something in his arsenal. Yeah,
no, he looked good. He looked good.
Absolutely.
We got Chris Gutierrez and John Castaneda too.
Yeah, this one was a hard one to predict. I decided last minute that I was riding with Gutierrez, and that paid out for me. But it was a good fight. It was close. It went to split decision. So obviously one judge thought Castaneda won that, and I think that was fully justified. I don't have any problem with that split decision.
That was a close one.
It was. It was fun to watch. It was a brutal fight. 65 total strikes landed from Gutierrez, 76 from Castaneda, 46 significant strikes from Gutierrez, and 41 from Castaneda. Control time was 39 seconds for Castaneda and 4 minutes and 50 seconds for Castaneda. It was a good fight. We got a little bit of everything. We got some ground and pound. We got some grappling. And we got some brawling, too.
Oh, yeah.
And it did not disappoint. And then we had Matt Schnell and Jimmy Flick. This fight also went to decision, which Matt Schnell took that by unanimous. Jimmy Flick had one submission attempt to Matt Schnell's 3, which was something I didn't exactly see coming.
Well, he was just so comfortable off his back.
Yep.
He didn't really try to get up at first. He kept trying to get him in the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, I don't know, that was high-level wrestling from both of them.
Yes, absolutely.
They just both couldn't get each other.
Yep.
But Matt Schnell completely outperformed Flick at the same time, too.
Absolutely. Especially on the feet.
Yeah.
And then we finally got into the main card.
Ooh. Evan Elder.
Oh, Evan Elder and Gage Young. My bad. I totally skipped that one.
Yeah.
This was a good fight. You took Gage Young. I took Evan Elder.
I liked Elder. I just liked the underdog I knew nothing about.
I understand that fully.
So I was like,
And Gage Young did look pretty good in this fight. He looked better than I expected him to be. I bet pretty heavily on Evan Elder to win by KO or submission. I didn't take the decision. I thought Gage Young was going to be totally outclassed all the way around. And I was wrong. Gage Young looked really good. He performed really well. He got beat up for sure. But he performed way better than I thought he was going to be. And he's real durable, man. Real durable.
Oh, yeah.
And he keeps pressure. He keeps pressure forward motion all the time. Always.
I thought Evan Elder was going to knock him out. He just...
Yeah, he kept standing.
Ate everything. Yeah. That was a good fight.
It was.
Evan Elder outperformed him still, but that was a good fight.
Yep. And I think that was the best part of the night was those prelims right there. There's a few other good moments from the main card, but the bad in the main card really hurt my soul. So it kind of outweighs the good of the main card.
Yeah, but
in my mind sometimes.
The first 2 knockouts, Ikram Aliskerov in round 1.
Yep, that one was fantastic.
And then Randy
Brown. So, if you guys don't know, we recently started a Twitter for the UFC event so we can let some of our emotions and thoughts fly to the internet, as people do on Twitter. And I believe it was our first tweet. And it was, Randy Brown is a bad man. Because holy shit, that was something I did not think was capable to be done to Nicholas Dalby, because Nicholas Dalby is notoriously hard to put out in a fight.
That was the first
time he had ever been
out.
knocked out or submitted, like any finish of any kind. Randy Brown gave him his first. He also gave him a sideways looking nose. Broke his nose early in the fight. I think first 10-30 seconds probably. Had his nose sideways. But Nicholas Dalby kept fighting through it. And
yeah,
then
his I mean, we know that Randy Brown has knockout power.
Mhm.
He just doesn't do it super consistent sometimes.
Yep.
And it was so unexpected in this one. And I think that was my favorite knockout of his.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've seen the clip of Holloway and Gaethje, right?
Mm-hmm. It was very Holloway-esque.
Yeah, just like how Reyes knocked out who was that? Now I'm blanking. Damn. But his knockout looked exactly like McGregor's on Aldo's. This one was exactly like Holloway and Gaethje.
Nikita Krylov.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it was a showcase from Randy Brown. I had underestimated, or no, I hadn't really underestimated Randy Brown. He was my pick. I knew he was going to win. I just overestimated Nicholas Dalby's chin, I guess, and underestimated Randy Brown's power just a tad.
I thought it was still unexpected.
Yeah, especially in the spectacular fashion that it was. And that
Out
face,
cold.
just face first into the mat.
Yeah, I was thinking if it was going to be anything, wobbled.
Yep,
stumble a little
TKO
bit.
punches.
Yeah,
kinda finish.
not like out cold.
Yep.
No, he put him out.
Yeah, for sure. And before that, though, there was Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. This was exactly what I expected from this fight. I knew Ikram was just it was gonna be a matter of time before he got him and put him out, and that's exactly what happened. He felt him out for a little while. Andre Muniz looked good for a little bit until he didn't, and then he fell on the ground and rolled around until he.
It was a delayed knockout.
Yeah.
He didn't even know he was out.
Yeah.
Until a second later.
Yeah.
That was bad. It was a left hook up against the fence. He's up and then just straight to the mat.
It was very entertaining. Hopefully you guys were able to catch that. Unlike this next fight,
we can skip this one.
I think we need to talk about it just a little bit.
All right.
That was Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. It went to decision.
He got 30-27.
Yep.
That was pretty bad.
Michel Pereira is washed. Or had something incredibly wrong go wrong for him in fight week going into the fight, because that is not the Michel Pereira we know and love by any means.
That's tied for biggest gas tank L of the night.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about the biggest gas tank L of the night later on, and try not to crash out when we're talking about that one again. But yeah, Michel Pereira's gas tank looked horrible. He was barely trying, it seemed like, to counter. There was no
pressure.
No, none. No real takedown attempts, I think. Abus.
I mean, he did land a decent amount of strikes, but Abus was
Abus had 4 takedown attempts. One of them was successful. Pereira had none. He only had 24 seconds of control time. Abus threw 140 strikes. I guess Michel Pereira threw 169, but only 74 of those landed. Abus Magomed didn't look great either. It was a boring fight.
Well, and at the end of it, both of their gas tanks were dead. It was just like a sloppy. Don't get me wrong; they're going out like warriors. They were still swinging.
Yep, but it wasn't. There was no pressure. There was no.
It was a
drive to finish.
Very slow.
Yep, you could tell both
fight.
of them were very tired.
Yeah.
At the end of that one. That was followed by.
Giga Chikadid's Day. And
Chikad's Day,
whatever. David Onama. I actually enjoyed this fight.
I did too.
Bit. It doesn't always have to be a finish.
Yep, nope.
But this was not slow
no
at all.
No, it was the exact opposite. It picked back up the night after the slugfest that was Michelle Pereira, Abus Magomed. It picked up the pace. It was high volume, high pace fighting the entire time.
They were both just landing strikes.
Yep, landing strikes like crazy.
They both wobbled each other a couple times. Like,
Yep.
they were just going at it.
And then in the later rounds, David Onama started to pick up that wrestling, got 6 minutes of control time between the last 2 rounds.
And that's what won him.
And
that
that's what
fight.
won him this fight, and was the difference. He went 3 for 3 for takedowns.
Yeah, because the striking was so close.
Yeah, and Giga Chikadze looked fantastic. He didn't get finished. His chin held up. It was a good fight overall, though.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
No complaints on that one.
And it went the way I thought it would too, though.
Yep. And then we had the retirement heart fight,
Oh.
the brutal beating of Anthony Lionheart Smith from Zhang Mingyang. I knew this was going to happen. I fell into the hype and my love for Anthony Smith that I have and the respect I have for that guy. I fell into that and I started sprinkling Anthony Smith's submission and Anthony Smith's knockout a little bit, just in the hope that Anthony Smith would get his fairy tale ending. But my overall pick was always Zhang, and it was always an early knockout,
I
round
didn't
one.
think he'd do him like that, though.
I saw that one coming, man. It just
Not by.
elbow was disgusting.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith was bleeding. He got cut early on the top of his head. Was gushing
And it was
blood.
bothering him too, because he kept grabbing for it.
And he's getting blood in his eyes.
Yeah,
that couldn't have helped.
As soon as that elbow hit,
tons of quick, nasty, horrific elbows that Zhang Mingyang was throwing at him, and just pounded Anthony Smith into the dirt.
Anthony Smith did hit Zhang with some pretty good elbows too,
Yeah,
but it's just his did
a lot more damage, man.
Yeah,
But I can't say anything bad about Anthony Smith, man.
absolutely.
The guy has a ton of heart. We both got a little emotional, little teary-eyed when they were playing his retirement clip, celebration little video in the night. It was sad to watch a great go out like that. But it was also kind of what I expected.
That's also, I feel like, the best way Anthony Smith could have gone out too, though.
Yep.
Bloodied up like a goddamn warrior.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and flipping off a fan.
Yeah,
Ready to
talking
get in a
shit.
fight.
Yeah. He had to have his opponent stop him from going to
Go,
whoop the
fans'
ass.
ass. Yep. Zhang Mingyang put on a great performance, dominant performance.
And I'm so excited to see him in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. I think he's going to be a real problem for the division. And I'm excited to see where this guy can go. He talks a lot of shit, and I like that too.
Imagine he shoots up really quick and he could fight Yuri.
Yeah. Ooh. That would be an entertaining fight. I'm still taking Yuri.
I know, but just
100%,
bombs being
but
thrown back and
absolutely.
forth. That's all they got.
Yeah. And that was the last good fight of the night. Because then we had the bum fest of Ian Machado Garry and Carlos Prates. This fight has made me crash out 3 or 4 times just thinking about it.
I was really wanting Prates to win.
Me too.
I'm doubling down. I still like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching him fight, but that did not look like him
See,
at all.
Yeah, I am tragically disappointed in Carlos Prates right now. I think it was just a lack of heart and a lack of cardio. He was definitely winded and tired and gas tanked out. He was running on empty. But as soon as I think he is 100% a way better fighter than Ian Machado Garry, because the moment he started to look like he looks in every other fight, he murdered Ian Machado Garry and had him done. And then right at the end of the round, he has him almost finished. He's 2-3 hammer fist away from the ref calling this fight, and he stops swinging.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
He completely stops and just lets the end of the fight go away.
Dude, everybody knew Machado was out. I don't think Prates knew that.
Yeah, I think everybody knew but Prates because he was so fucking winded.
Yeah. But I will say, great fight by Machado Garry. His game plan worked exactly how he probably thought it would, testing his gas tank and just beating up on him, wrestling, shooting, take, like just wearing him out quick, and it worked. Give you some flowers.
I think Ian
should-
Garry is a bum.
He needs to rematch.
The only thing
Shavkat
I will
next.
give Ian Garry is that, or I'll give him two things. One is he's willing to fight anybody. I respect that. He'll take anybody, anytime, any place.
What's number 2?
Number 2 is his fight IQ. He did fight this fight in a smart manner. He did what he needed to do to win the decision 100%. He won rounds 1, 2, and 3 absolutely. Some of the judges gave Prates round 3 or 4 and 5, but I could see Ian Garry having won round 4 as well.
Yeah, I would have had him winning 1 through 4.
Yeah.
I think Prates won round 5 only because he got him stunned at the end.
Exactly.
That's really.
But
that
he
was
didn't
his big
finish it.
moment.
He didn't. He had him. He could have finished it. He didn't. He didn't have the gas tank, or he didn't have the heart to keep fighting that.
I think the reason Machado Garry won too is Prates looked so uncomfortable with that much pressure because Garry did do a lot and he did stun him or wobble him somewhere like that.
I don't think he did, man.
He landed a mean uppercut. He kind of.
The one uppercut kind of buzzed him a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Stunned,
that's it, dude. I really think that
he was just putting a pace
Carlos
on him.
Prates was just tired, man, and he didn't have the
Yeah.
heart to persevere and finish that fight. I think he's still a great fighter. I think this is going to be a learning moment for him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go back to
Garry,
the drawing board.
Machado Garry had him figured out. That head kick he kept throwing was to keep his hands up
Yeah.
because he didn't throw that left hand really at all.
Yeah. But as
during
soon
that
as
fight.
Prates started countering well and keeping his hands down, that head kick stopped.
Yeah.
It didn't come as soon as Prates had his hands down.
That's what
like
I'm
it
saying.
should have.
But the head kick did its job. Like
Yeah,
went
when he
in
was
there-
doing it,
Yeah.
but he didn't do it at the right times.
Well, I'm saying that's something he needs to watch out for in the future, Prates,
Yeah.
because like he might have to fix what he's doing, like tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if his whole offensive rhythm gets thrown off by just a couple head kicks and a little bit of pressure,
Yeah.
because he wasn't putting that much damage on him, like we said.
No.
He's got to get comfortable with that,
Yeah.
like especially going to fight contenders.
Yeah. And by no means does Ian Garry deserve a title shot after that fight.
No, not after that.
And I mean,
Not
I get
after
he's
that.
the backup, and the backup is fine. I get it. He can be that backup. And if he gets a shot in that sense, good for him. But he is not deserving of a title shot by any means or any stretch of the imagination. But neither is Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates definitely has to go back to the drawing board. I still believe he's going to be a great fighter as long as he takes this as a learning experience and moves on from it and grows from it and maybe stops smoking so much. Just cut back just a little bit when it comes time to fight. And, man, but I'm disappointed in the performance from Prates last night, but I'm still going to ride with him. I still consider him one of the greats from the Fighting Nerds. I do think that he's just he's just not a true killer necessarily like Silva and Rufy are because of that gas tank issue. I think he could
I
be.
think he is.
I think he could be if he gets that gas tank figured out.
Every
Because when he
fighter
gets
in the
into a
UFC's
fight,
had that,
but he
like,
gets to
oh
a
shit, I gotta,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
This is
But
his
that's
learning moment.
yeah, exactly. As long as he learns from it,
Yeah.
we'll be good. If he doesn't learn from it, then it's a problem.
I still think he's a killer, though. That's what I'm saying.
But yes, but he's not a killer at the top contenders level.
Oh yeah,
with
no.
guys with durable chins, that will need 2-3 rounds of punishment before they go down.
Yeah, he does need the gas.
He needs the gas tank to be that level of a killer, and that's a gas tank that Gene Silva has already shown us he has. I don't think Gene Silva will ever get tired in a fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him I've seen him a little tired, but not like.
But yeah, and then
That
but
tired.
Caio Bravo is a fantastic high level fighter. But he's
Really
not
high fight
necessarily
IQ.
that absolute killer. But yeah, he's high fight IQ. He does what he needs to be done. He puts a ton of punishment in. He puts work in. He has the gas tank.
And he's really well-rounded, too.
But yeah, I'm excited to see more from Carlos Prates. Just take a little break, take some time off, stop smoking so much, and start going on runs.
Call back for that rematch.
Yep, and then run it back.
Instantly call for that rematch.
I want
it back.
I want it back. I want to see that fight again. I think
because if you come back and he can knock him out like round 2, round 3, like he does.
Yep. Then he is fully back in everyone's good graces.
Yeah, and he's like, it was just not.
I don't like the disregard of Carlos Prates now that he's lost from the fighting nerds.
I do want to see Machado Garry fight Shavkat again next.
You just said immediate rematch with Garry.
That's not gonna happen.
You want him to fight Shavkat next?
I want that rematch more than I want the Prates rematch.
Yeah.
I think Shavkat puts him out.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't think Ian Garry has a hope in that fight.
He's gonna have 2 MCLs, dude.
Yeah,
or whatever he tore, his ACL.
Yep. But that was the night. I'm more salty about the Carlos Prates loss because I had a lot of money that one pick away from a Carlos Prates finish of any kind was all I needed to win a substantial amount of money. And he was this close, and then it got ripped away from me. But
it hurt watching him because he did not do good the first 3 rounds.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So it kind of hurt watching him do that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then right at the end, he had a chance to, because he wasn't winning a decision.
See,
that was the only way he could have won.
I don't think he did bad. I think he was just doing his normal thing where he was filling him out and getting a vibe and trying to let him try some different things to see what was
but Ian
in
Garry
Gary's
was
toolbox.
Still doing just way more than
he was.
But
for sure on a scorecard basis, he was kicking Carlos's ass on the scorecards as far as that goes.
I'm just saying when he went out there and he needed a finish to win, and he was this close to getting it and didn't.
Yeah. And Ian Gary's gas tank held up for sure. I didn't think that was going to be an issue.
Ian Gary's got a good gas tank, dude.
But yeah, that's going to wrap it up from our recap from the UFC Fight Night, Machado versus Prates. And that is going to be it for that recap. In Kansas City, we're going to be moving over to Des Moines now.
Yep.
Where we are going to have the fight night of Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. And the first fight on the docket for that one is Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. And Ivana Petrovic is a pretty good grappler. She averages 2.53 takedowns per 15-minute fight with 43% accuracy. She's a takedown defense of 55% and averages 1 submission attempt per fight. She's fairly active on her feet. She averages 2 strikes per minute, landing at 39% accuracy. She absorbs 2.7% with 55% defense. So she's pretty good defensively striking, though, and she has good movement. She's pretty light on her feet. Juliana Miller is a slightly more active striker. She averages 3.31 strikes per minute with 45% accuracy, but she does take more damage, absorbing 4.75 strikes per minute with 32% defense, so her defense is a little bit less. She's good on her on the mat as well. She also averages about 2 takedowns per fight. It's 1.84 with 44% accuracy, so about the same takedown accuracy there. 0% takedown defense, though, and she averages about 2 submission attempts per fight. Both of them are coming off a loss in their last fight. Juliana Miller is 4-3 in her professional career, and Ivana Petrovic is 7-2-0.
Petrovic is 2-1 in the UFC, and Juliana Miller is 1-2. Yeah, 1-2 in the UFC.
Cool. All right. Ivana Petrovic is also going to be the favorite, minus 245 over a plus 200 underdog in Juliana Miller. And that's pretty much exactly how I see this fight going. I think it's going to be Petrovic in this fight. I don't know if submission is going to be super live in this fight because Juliana Miller does have pretty good grappling,
Jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
I think she's definitely going to be taken down and probably controlled, but I don't think she's going to be submitted.
I'm actually taking Juliana Miller.
You're taking Juliana Miller.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah. I like how active she is on the ground, and she seems comfortable fighting off of her back. So I could see her potentially setting up something like off her back in that fight.
Yeah, for sure. I think also a TKO from Juliana Miller wouldn't be too far stretched.
No, she only has one.
She only has one, but I think that with the volume that she puts out and her ability to absorb punches, she could potentially get that. But I'm taking Ivana on that one, personally.
Ooh, we got Thomas Peterson versus Dante O'Mays. It's a heavyweight match. Thomas Peterson's 6'1", Dante O'Mays is 6'6", so he's definitely the bigger fighter. Thomas Peterson has a 74-inch reach, which is 7 inches less than Dante O'Mays' 81-inch reach. Thomas lands 4.5 significant strikes per minute. Dante O'Mays lands 3.5. Thomas is more of the grappler, but I haven't seen him be super successful with it. I believe he has one submission, on the Contender Series, but he's coming off of a pretty bad knockout by Gaziv too.
Yeah.
And I know he's the shorter fighter just in general, but I think I'm taking Thomas Peterson.
Yeah, I think I am too.
I do like his boxing. And I don't know. I've watched a little bit of tape on Dante O'Mays. And there's nothing that like really stood out to me that would like beat Thomas Peterson.
Yeah.
Because if anything, Thomas Peterson can just wrestle him.
I like Thomas Peterson a lot. I think he's a big corn-fed farm boy from the Midwest. He's a good wrestler. He's got good fast hands. He puts a lot of volume out there. He's got a good chin. Gaziv just found that sweet spot on him, unfortunately, which I think Dante O'Mays is capable of doing. Do not get me wrong. I think a Dante O'Mays KO is definitely possible. But I think Thomas Peterson is going to be the better fighter overall, though. I think he's going to put more volume out on the feet, and I think he's going to be more dominant on the mat as well. And he's definitely going to win a decision if it goes to that. But I think
I have a wild pick,
Thomas Peterson by TKO ground and pound is what my pick is going to be for this one.
I have him by submission.
By submission, if you get a second submission in the in the UFC.
His ground game looks good, especially for a heavyweight.
Yeah.
I don't really know if he has the gas tank to do that for very long. I haven't seen him on the ground that much. I've only seen that Contenders fight, I think. But I think it's possible. It might be live.
Yeah.
So probably decision, but if he's going to win by a finish, I think it's going to be a submission.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're pretty much in agreement on that one. Next up is Gaston Bolaños versus Quang Le. Gaston Bolaños is 8-4 in his career. He is 5'7", 135 pounds, and has a 69-inch reach. He's going to be taking on Quang Le. He's 8-2 in his professional career. He is 5'6". He is 136 pounds and has a 70-inch reach. Quang Lee is coming off of a loss, and Gaston Bolaños is coming off of a win. Gaston Bolaños is slightly more active on the feet, averaging 3.74 significant strikes landed per minute over 3.02 from Quang Lee, with 50% accuracy to Quang Lee's 35% accuracy. He absorbs less as well. He absorbs 2.57 strikes per minute to Quang Lee's 5.52 strikes per minute. And they both have pretty high defense, with Gaston Bolaños at 52% and Quang Lee at 40%. On the mat, though, Quang Lee is the more active fighter, with averaging 1.7 takedowns per fight, to Gaston Bolaños' 0.78, so less than one average per fight. But Bolaños has 100% accuracy with the few takedowns he has, while Quang Lee only has 23%. Takedown defense from Bolaños is at 42%, and Quang Lee's is at 100%. I think this is going to shape out to be a pretty good fight. My pick is going to be absolutely. The odds have this right now as Gaston Bolaños as a minus 192 favorite to Quang Lee's 162 underdog, and I see it pretty similarly. I think Quang Lee's going to put up a decent fight, but I think overall Gaston Bolaños is going to outclass him on the feet, and I think it's going to stay on the feet for the entirety of this fight. I don't think takedowns are really going to be too much of a factor, because
they're going to go to the mat. It's going to be Bolaños by decision.
Yeah,
that's the only pick I got for this one.
Yeah, I think but I don't think he's going to put out Quang Lee either way. So I think it's going to be a fight on the feet to decision. Yeah. And that is a bantamweight fight. Doesn't mean much for the division, but it should be a somewhat entertaining fight.
Yeah, because Quang Lee is off of a 2-loss streak too.
Yep.
He lost to Chris Gutierrez, who we just saw fight. John Castaneda won in a split decision. He beat Quang Lee by unanimous decision, and then he got knocked out by Zhao Long.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see how he bounces back from that, I guess.
Yeah, we will see.
All right, we got Jillian Robertson and Marina Rodriguez.
Women's strawweight bout.
Mm-hmm. Marina Rodriguez is 37. Jillian Robertson is 29, so an 8-year difference. And as we've seen multiple times in the UFC, age does play a huge factor, unless you're Alexander Volkanovski. Both orthodox fighters. Marina Rodriguez is more active on the feet, landing 4.5 significant strikes per minute. Jillian Robertson lands just under 3 per minute. They both land at just above 50%. Jillian Robertson, much more active on the ground, averages almost 3 takedowns a match and almost 1 submission per match as well. Robertson is on a 3-fight win streak. She beat Polyana Viana by knockout. Waterson Gomez by unanimous decision, and Pinheiro by unanimous decision. And I believe, I lost it. She is the favorite at 310 on the odds, and Rodriguez is plus 245. And Rodriguez is also on a 2-loss streak to Julia Andrade and Lucindo. So, last 2 fights were with some, established fighters, great fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still taking Jillian Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
She's got that. She's on her run right now. And I don't think 37-year-old Marina Rodriguez is going to bounce back from it.
Yeah, I'm going to be in agreement with you there. I think Marina Rodriguez is on her downslide because of her age. I think it's just the unfortunate toll that time takes. I think she was a fantastic fighter, and I think she's still a very good fighter. But Jillian Robertson is coming into her prime, I believe. And I think that the submission's going to be fairly live in this fight.
That's what I have. I have Jillian Robert submission.
I'm probably going to go Jillian Roberts submission or decision, just to give that credit to Marina Rodriguez. But yeah, not a whole lot to say here. It's a vet on the way down and new contender on their way up. Jillian Robertson is currently number 12 in the women's strawweight division, and Marina Rodriguez is currently number 9. So I think Jillian Robertson is going to climb her way up the rank a little bit after this fight and see where she goes from there.
Mm-hmm. So what do we have next? What do we got next?
Next up, we have Ryan Loder versus Asmat Bekaev.
Middleweight.
Asmat
yeah.
Bekaev. Yeah. So Ryan Loder is 8-1 in his career. He is 6'1" with a 76-inch reach, and he's going to be taking on Asmat Bekaev, who is 19-3 in his career, 6 foot tall, and has a 72-inch reach, so a slightly smaller reach off of from Asmat to Ryan Loder. But both of these guys are coming off of a win. Both of these guys are pretty versatile guys all the way around. On the feet, though, Ryan Loder averages 6.16 strikes per minute, while Asmat averages 6.85. Ryan Loder has 80% accuracy that matches Asmat's 80% accuracy as well. Ryan Loder is pretty fluid, and he doesn't get hit a lot. He averages 0.15 strikes per minute to Asmat's 4.24 absorbed per minute. And Ryan Loder has 50% defense with Asmat's 45% defense. On the mat, Asmat's going to be the more active fighter. Ryan Loder has 2.2 takedowns average per fight, while Asmat averages 4.89 per fight. Takedown accuracy is 33% from Ryan Loder to 50% from Asmat Bekaev. However, Ryan Loder does have a strong wrestling background, and he has 100% takedown defense of this moment, and averages 2.2 submission attempts per fight to Asmat's 0 in the UFC, at least. I believe that Asmat, though, all of those statistics are based off of just one UFC fight. So those stats are based off of one fight only.
They both only have one UFC fight.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Loder as well.
And they both won by knockout.
Yeah, Ryan Loder beat Valentin.
Yeah, and Bekaev fought Zachary Reese when Moicano was fighting Makhachev. He knocked him out, too.
Yeah, that's right. I remember watching that.
So, personally, for this fight, I don't see it going the distance. It's kind of more of a long shot for me, but I still like it. I'd do Ryan Loder by knockout or Bekaev by knockout. Or maybe Ryan Loder knockout, Bekaev submission, because Bekaev is a very balanced fighter. He has a submission game and hands.
Yeah.
So that one kind of tears me. That's why I want to do one of the either or bets.
This is one that I'm probably just not gonna bet on and just enjoy.
If I had to pick, though, just so it's out there, Ryan Loder knockout, Bekaev decision.
If I have to pick, I'm going Ryan Loder submission, Bekaev knockout.
I don't know if he's that live for a submission.
Ryan Loder's live for a submission, dude.
He's got no submissions.
Ryan Loder's live for a submission, trust me.
Okay.
He is a wrestler. He was a D2 wrestler.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I don't think he will.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, because Bekaev's comfortable on the ground. I don't think I don't think he'll do that. And if he does,
Because Becca.
he has like 8.
Mm,
He has like 8
I'm
submissions,
rescinding.
9 knockouts.
I'm gonna go Ryan Loder knockout, Bekaev decision.
Yeah, so we agree.
Yep.
Yeah, same pick.
Okay. Yep.
Easy. Money Moicano.
Alrighty. The last fight of the prelims is gonna be Yana Santos versus Miesha Tate. Yana Santos is the number 10 ranked contender in the women's bantamweight division, while Miesha Tate is the number 11. Ethan, do you want to break this one down for us?
I'm just checking something real quick. Miesha Tate is coming off of a win. And Yana Santos, I believe, is also coming off of a... Yep, she beat Chelsea Chandler by decision. So they're both coming off of a win. Yana Santos is the underdog by 110. Miesha Tate is the favorite, negative 130. Yana Santos is 35, has a 68.5-inch reach, lands just under 4.5 significant strikes per minute, but she does land at 71%. Has a takedown average of barely under 1 a match, 53% takedown accuracy, and a submission average of 0.1, so she's not that active, it seems like. Miesha Tate is 38 years old, has a 65-inch reach, lands a little over 2.5 significant strikes per minute at 57%. She has a takedown average of 2 per match with a takedown accuracy of 31% and a submission average of 1.3 per match. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one.
On this one right now are plus 110 for Yana Santos as the underdog and minus 130 for Miesha Tate. So pretty close to pick'em odds, and I fully agree with that. I think both these women are very evenly matched, kind of all the way around. I think Yana Santos might have the slight upper hand on the feet, but I think Miesha Tate has the slight upper hand on the mat.
Yeah, Yana Santos has 7 knockouts.
Yeah.
And she has... How many is... I don't know if she has... Hold on. Fact checking.
Miesha Tate has 8 submissions.
Okay, she doesn't have any knockouts in the UFC. She has been knocked out 3 times, Yana Santos, though, in the UFC. Miesha Tate has submissions in the UFC, though.
And a knockout in the UFC.
Yeah, if anything, I would take Santos' decision or Miesha Tate's submission. That's probably what I'd roll with on this one.
I think I'm going to ride with Miesha Tate for however she wants and however she gets let by Yana Santos to win. I think it's kind of going to be up to Yana Santos how Miesha Tate wins, whether it's on the feet, on the mat, or by decision. I like Miesha Tate decision overall, though. Maybe a submission prop, though. But I could also see... Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the money line on Miesha Tate for this one. I like her as my pick. But I wouldn't hate anyone who takes Yana Santos either. I think this is going to be a really close fight.
Well, yeah, I'm taking Santos decision, Tate submission. I feel like Yana has the edge on the feet, so she can ultimately win a decision. But I feel like she's not gonna be able to hang with Miesha Tate on the mat for 15 minutes if they're just wrestling the whole time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get that. All right, that wraps up our prelims. Now we are going to get into the main card. Starting us off for the main card, we have Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones for a lightweight bout. Jeremy Stephens is 14-17-1 in the UFC career. He is 38 years old and has a 70-inch reach. Fights orthodox. He has 3 significant strikes landed per minute, at 48% accuracy and a 1.1 takedown average on with 38% accuracy. Mason Jones is 29, 9 years younger than Jeremy Stevens. He is a 74. He has a 74-inch reach, which is a 4-inch reach advantage. He also fights well out of the orthodox stance. He lands 5.6 significant strikes per minute with an accuracy of 50%. He averages 3 takedowns per match with 45% accuracy. The takedowns, he is coming back from there we go. Sorry, I lost it there. He is coming back from a win in the fighting in the Cage Warriors. He did have a 4-fight stint with the UFC where he lost 2, had 1 no contest, but he did win a unanimous decision over David Onama in his last 4 Cage Warrior wins were 3 knockouts and 1 decision.
Okay.
Sorry, bear with us there. Our notes are a little rough this week. We're kind of rushing through this one a little bit, crushed on time for this week.
But I just want to note this for Jeremy Stevens. The dude's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But he did spend his last 3 fights in the PFL. His last fight was a loss by submission. And out of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights, 1 win, 7 losses, 1 no contest. It's not looking good for him. I do not think he wins this at all.
Yeah,
I really don't. I'm just Mason Jones money line. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, and he's a minus 440 favorite, so I don't know if that one's even really worth the betting on.
And he's 8 years younger. Oh, you know what? No, I'll take Mason Jones knockout or decision.
That's fair for sure. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think Jeremy Stevens is... How old is he?
38.
38. So yeah, he's coming out of his prime, for sure. He's been dabbling in the PFL pools for a little, which he's doing fine at.
In the PFL?
Yeah.
He was 2-1.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. I think he's kind of bounced back.
I'm thinking, Mason Jones. I'm getting those two mixed up. Mason Jones had Cage Warriors.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, not PFL, Cage Warriors. I'm getting those mixed up in my head. Sorry, guys. But yeah, no, I think Jeremy Stevens is going to get outclassed here. I think it's going to be up to Mason Jones how he wins, whether and up to Jeremy Stevens' chin, if that can hold up or not. Yeah, give me Mason Jones. Not much to say about that one, really.
All right, we got Cameron Smotherman and Sergey Side, I believe is how you say it.
I would believe so. I think so.
Where are my notes at? Here it is. Okay, my bad. Okay, Cameron Smotherman is 27. He has a 69-inch reach. He fights out of the orthodox stance. He lands 6.25 significant strikes landed per minute, and he lands at 37%. I couldn't find any stats on... Granted, I didn't look that hard, but I couldn't find any stats for his takedown accuracy and his average or his submission average. He has a UFC record of 1-0. His most recent win was a unanimous decision over Jay Cadley. Side is 28 years old, so both young fighters, which I'm excited to see. He has a 72-inch reach. He likes to switch his stance. He lands on a little under 5 significant strikes per minute, and he lands at 40%. I couldn't find stats for his takedown average or his accuracy, but he averages 1.4 submissions a match. So I'm going to assume that he's somewhat comfortable on the mat. Just based off of the information I don't have, I'm going to say Side is the better grappler than Smotherman. I could most definitely be proved wrong. C-Day is 2-0 in the UFC. His last fight was a split decision over Garrett Armfield. Overall, I think Smotherman has good striking. He puts good combos together. He's pretty active. I've seen him. It kind of seemed like he was a little bit uncomfortable on the mat from the film that I've seen. I think he might struggle against higher level wrestlers than he's already faced. I don't know if C-Day has that in his bag, but I really do like C-Day's striking. This one was also tough for me, but overall, I think a Sergey Sydney money line. Just that's all I got.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you which way this fight's gonna go.
No, yeah, I was able to find a decent amount of footage on both of these guys, so I have a little bit more to say. I think Cameron Smotherman has good striking, and he puts combos together really well. He's very active on his feet. I really like the way he strikes and counters. But on the mat, he does struggle. He can defend some takedowns and some submission attempts. But against higher level wrestlers, he would probably really struggle. I believe, especially right now, maybe with more practice and more time, he can get better at that, like some people do. And then Sydney, he's a decent striker, but a better counter striker. He counters really well. But I think he might be a little bit chinny. I watched him get wobbled a few times. And didn't recover the best, but also wasn't knocked out either.
Did he fight John Castaneda?
Yeah,
That's who it was against, right?
I believe so. Yeah, super bloodied up fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight.
Yep, and but his grappling is good. But his takedowns need some work. They're kind of reckless. And he could definitely get caught. And for that reason, give me Cameron Smotherman. I think it's going to be a KO from Cameron Smotherman or decision.
I like that too.
Suri Sydney's chin. But yeah, give me Cameron Smotherman. But I wouldn't hate anything from us. I wouldn't be surprised if Suri was able to pull something out of his hat for this one.
Yeah, and I was thinking of the wrong person.
Who are you thinking of?
He did not fight John Castaneda.
Who was that fight that I watched then that he...
I think it was Ramon Tavares.
Ramon. Yep, it was their second fight that they went to split decision.
Yep, he fought him in the contender. He knocked him out.
Yeah, he knocked him out in the contender series. And I watched that fight. I couldn't find that fight freaking
I found that
anywhere.
One. That was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie.
I couldn't find the knockout, but I found that whole fight and watched the whole split decision one, and then also watched him against Armfield. And yeah, I think he might be a little chinny is something that I kind of noticed. But getting into the next fight of the night, we have Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos, sorry. Montel Jackson is 8-2 in the UFC. He is 32 years old with a 75.5 inch reach. He is a southpaw fighter that lands 33.39 significant strikes per minute at 63% accuracy. He averages 3.4 takedowns per fight with a 71% accuracy. He is on a 5-fight win streak and a 2 knockout win. His most recent win was an 18-second knockout over Damon Blackshear. Daniel Marcos has a professional record of 17-0. He is 32 years old. He has a 69-inch reach. Has an advantage of 6.5 inches in this fight. And he is an orthodox striker that lands just under 6 significant strikes per minute at 54%. 8.5 takedown average and 50% accuracy with those takedowns. I like Montel Jackson a lot in this fight. I think His KO power is going to be there. I think it's going to be a real problem for Daniel Marcos. But I do think Daniel Marcos does have a dog in this fight. He's also a pretty high-level striker. He does have 8 wins by knockout. 3 of those were first-round finishes. I don't hate the idea of taking Marcos in this one as a like small sprinkle, as like a safety bet. But if you're gonna put some money on somebody, I think it's Montel Jackson by KO.
I'm not comfortable with picking.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it goes the distance.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put an under.
Mm-hmm.
Probably under 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they can both go out there and get it done. I honestly don't know who to pick. And I figured out who I was mixing him up with. Daniel Marcos fought John Castaneda.
That's okay. That would make sense. Yep.
Yeah, he beat him by a unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Montel Jackson is just a little bit more deadly.
He is,
and that KO power is going to be a problem. So I think Montel Jackson knocks out Daniel Marcos probably in the second round.
The reach difference is crazy.
And yeah, the reach is going to be an issue. But Marcos mixing in some grappling isn't really not going to be an option either, because Montel Jackson is pretty high level when it comes to grappling as well. He could maybe get a takedown. But I think this fight stays on the feet overall, and I think that Daniel Marcos is going to find out real quick how hard Montel Jackson can hit him and put him out.
No, I like the picks. I got to stick with my under. There's a lot of fights on this card that I don't really know how to judge them, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of good fights, like very evenly matched fights. That's why
for sure.
I'm not, on a lot of these, I'm not really leaning heavy one way.
Yeah,
until, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but we're almost there.
Yeah, no, most of these fights I'm super conflicted on as well. There should be I'm probably just going to be going over-unders on these fights and not actually betting on picks specifically
I
because
might take like
how close.
A decision pick here or there, but
yeah,
a lot of overs, a lot of unders.
Especially in the main card.
Yeah.
It gets really tight, really close fights.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
Up next, we got Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
He is 38 years old, a 70-inch reach. He fights orthodox. He lands under 5 significant strikes per minute at 42%. Where to go? He averages 0.5 takedowns a match at 32% accuracy. Daniel Rodriguez is 38 years old, has a 74-inch reach, so same age. Rodriguez only has an inch reach advantage. He does fight out of southpaw, though, so opposite stances. He does he lands 7.5 significant strikes landed per minute at 50%. He averages 0.5 takedowns at 54% accuracy. Like I said just before this, I'm torn on this one as well. I would probably pick Santiago as a prop by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do like Santiago. I do think he wins this, but I would just take the under on this one too.
Yeah, I think this fight just ends in a knockout. Honestly.
There's not much I can say about it. They're both active, big hitting strikers.
Yeah, and I mean, Daniel Rodriguez got knocked out by Ian Garry.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah,
he is definitely doesn't have the most durable chin there is.
Rodriguez is coming off of a split decision to Alex Morono.
Mm-hmm.
And Santiago is coming off of a knockout win, I believe. Yeah, knockout win over Carlston Harris.
And also when Santiago fought Alex Morono, he knocked out Alex Morono in the third round. If you want to do some MMA math, Santiago Ponzinibbio has also 17 knockouts in his career. He's 17-4 for knockouts, so he's only been knocked out 4 times. One of those was by Kevin Holland. The others were Li Jingling and Lorenz Larkin back in 2015.
Well, Daniel Rodriguez has only been knocked out by Ian Machado Garry.
Yeah.
And he's only been submitted by Neil Magny. So, like you said, if you want to do some MMA math here.
Yeah, I like Santiago too here. Overall, I think I'm going to take fight ends in KO though, because I think Daniel Rodriguez is also very live to put a slightly older Santiago
they're both
to sleep.
They're both 38.
Are they both 38?
Yep. Nobody's got no age advantage.
Okay. Well then, yeah. I'm just more cemented in just KO overall rather than a pick.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be a close fight. And both these guys have a lot of skills and opportunities, and methods to win and paths to victory. And I think this one will definitely be an entertaining fight, though, nonetheless.
Absolutely. But the one I wanted to talk about, this is the one I'm most excited for. Rainier de Ritter and Bo Nickel.
Ooh, yes. The co-main event, middleweight bout. Rainier de Ritter versus Bo Nickel. Rainier de Ritter, he is 6'4", 38 years old, and has a 78-inch reach.
De Ritter's 34, sorry.
34? Oh.
Yeah, fact check. My bad.
He lands just over 3 significant strikes per minute at a 72% rate. He has 6.89 takedown average, and he has the takedown accuracy of 46%. He has a submission average of the notes are incomplete. Can you get me a submission average real quick?
Submission. Oh, my bad.
He is 2-0 in the UFC. and 19-2 in his professional record.
De Ritter?
Yes.
Submission average is 1.97 per match.
Cool. He is 2-0 in the UFC and 19-2 in his professional career. He is coming off of a submission win over Gerald Meerschaert and Kevin Holland. 13 of his 19 wins came by submission, and he has never been submitted before. Bo Nickel, though, has a professional record of 7-0. He has 4 now in the UFC, 4 fights now in the UFC, with 2 wins by submission and 1 by knockout and 1 by unanimous decision.
Yeah, because we don't want to count the Contender Series, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but just to throw it out there, he did have, obviously he's on a 7-fight win streak, but he had back-to-back submissions on the Contender Series.
He is 29 years old. These last 2 fights are a submission win over Cody Brundage and unanimous decision over Paul Craig. He lands 2.5 significant strikes per minute at 68% accuracy. And he is a 3.61% takedown 3.61 takedown average with 50% accuracy. Taking on
he has a 3.61 submission average.
Yeah. 50% takedown accuracy and 3.5 submission average. Gosh, those notes were rough.
I know, that's my fault. I didn't.
The voice to text isn't working great for
I tried it. I didn't get a chance to go back and clean it up after I did
That's
it.
all right. We're struggle busting through this one. But what do you think about this fight? Rainier de Ritter. I'm gonna let you talk first because I know you really want to talk about this fight and you like this fight a lot.
Rainier
I do
de
too, but
Ritter submission.
that's it.
That's it.
That's all you got.
That's the one I'm solid on. That's my pick. I skipped every other fight. Rainier de Ritter submission. That's it.
See, I'm going Bo Nickel knockout.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. In the last
Hell no.
last fight we watched, Bo Nickel, what did he do the entire fight? The entire fight. His last fight, what did Bo Nickel do?
He fought to a decision against Paul Craig.
Striking the entire time.
Yeah.
He didn't wrestle at all.
So de Ritter's going to take him to the ground.
I think Bo Nickel is a good enough wrestler that Bo Nickel can stuff all of those takedown attempts. Yeah, not a single takedown attempt from Bo Nickel or Paul Craig. Went to decision, 3 rounds, 85 strikes from Bo Nickel, 130 from Paul Craig. Not a single takedown attempt. Bo Nickel is trying to prove a point that he could strike and still win a fight. And I think he's going to pull out a knockout here. No, I'm kidding. I think it's Bo Nickel's submission. I think this fight is going to largely play out almost entirely on the mat. And I think Bo Nickel's just going to get lucky and catch Rainier de Ritter.
No. You can think that. That's fine. That's your opinion. I'm just letting you know. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be Rainier de Ritter by submission.
To be fair, I do think Rainier de Ritter is live in this fight for
such a
submission.
submission artist.
That's
the
but
only-
I do think Bo Nickel would potentially outclass him on the feet if he can keep it on the feet.
Well, yeah. No, I'm not saying...
Because Bo Nickel proved that he can strike.
Yeah, I'm not saying de Ritter's a better striker than Bo Nickel. You put 2 high-class wrestlers together,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to the mat.
Yeah, that's true. Bo Nickel is the minus 278 favorite to the underdog of plus 225 for Rainier de Ritter.
They're sleeping on de Ritter.
I think
de Ritter wrapped up Holland like it was nothing and just put him out.
You know what? With those odds, give me Rainier. Give me Rainier. If you're going to give me plus money on Rainier, I will take that over Bo Nickel. For sure.
Yeah, I do think Bo Nickel's
Submission bet.
fantastic.
Rainier.
This is definitely the best grappler he's had to fight.
Yeah.
He's gonna, they could give him a run for his money.
Fight ends in submission only.
Well, yeah, he fought Jamie Pickett, Val Woodburn, Cody Brundage, and Paul Craig.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not crazy high level grapplers.
that's what I'm saying. And then they're throwing him Rainier de Ritter.
Yeah.
He's gonna get tested. I still think he could win, but I got Rainier de Ritter all day.
That's fair.
All right, we got my boy Corey Sandhagen, Davison Figueiredo.
Main card of the night.
This one I'm torn about too, because the odds for Corey Sandhagen have him as the favorite for negative 550. Figueiredo's the underdog by plus 375. I think Figueiredo's gonna just wrestle him. I don't think Sandhagen can deal with it. If you've seen the TJ Dillashaw fight between Dillashaw and Sandhagen, Dillashaw was really working in the just shooting, getting some takedowns, a little bit of pressure, and that's pretty much what won him that split decision. If it stays on the feet, I 100% see Corey Sandhagen. I'm not going to say getting a knockout, but I can see him outclassing Figueiredo on the feet. I feel like there's so many different ways this fight can go.
My initial thoughts on this one and my initial kind of pick is Figueiredo submission, Sandhagen decision. But I can also see that going the other way around. I can see Sandhagen knockout. I could even potentially see a Figueiredo knockout.
If I had to pick, it'd be one of those alternate chances again, and it'd be Figueiredo decision, Sandhagen knockout.
You think Sandhagen knockout, Figueiredo decision?
He's got
That's
it.
a very fair, very live pick. Both of these guys are vets to this game. Both of them have fought very high level competition. I think Corey Sandhagen has fought slightly higher level competition, in my opinion. But that's definitely up for debate as well.
I don't know, man. You might be wrong. I might have to fact check you here.
But no, feel free, because I have Corey Sandhagen's resume to back it up.
Davidson Figueiredo has fought Peter Yan, Marlon Vera, Cody Garbrandt, Brandon Moreno 4 times in a row. Alex Perez, Joseph Benavidez twice, Alexandre Pantoja, Joseph Morales. He's got a lot of good names.
And Corey Sandhagen has fought Rob Font, Marlon Vera, Song Yadong, Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw, Frankie Edgar, Marlon Morales, Aljamain Sterling, Mario Bautista, Austin Arnett.
But did he fight Brandon Moreno 4 times in a row?
He didn't need to fight Brandon Moreno 4 times in a row. He didn't even fight Brandon Moreno once.
Exactly. He's ducking. My boy Figueiredo wanted all the smoke.
No. I'll give him Brandon Moreno for sure, but I think
4 times.
Corey
Brandon
Sandhagen.
Moreno 4 times.
How many times did he beat Brandon Moreno though?
Figueiredo?
3? Twice? Once? Twice?
Once was a draw. He got a unanimous win. Brandon Moreno TKO'd him and then submitted him once.
Okay, so once and a draw. Yeah. Once in a draw versus that entire resume from Corey Sandhagen.
Hey, those fights were cinema, all right? They were fantastic.
It was.
Well,
I remember the draw, and I remember him getting knocked out by Moreno.
I remember the knockout and the decision from just both wars.
Yeah.
But I still like Sandhagen more than Figueiredo.
Yeah,
Corey
this is a
Sandhagen's
tough one.
Personal favorite of mine. After Carlos Prates did what he did to me, I got to be a little bit more careful. But yeah, I think I'd probably stick with Sandhagen.
That's a very fair point, for sure.
Or I'd probably take an over bet on it.
Yeah.
Over 3.5, probably. Yeah, it could go either way. I'm probably not going to bet on this fight.
I won't probably either.
I'm just going to be happy as a fan to sit there and watch it. I'm just going to enjoy it.
there.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
one of those fights.
Yeah,
But
no, for sure.
I am very excited because I do believe both of these, maybe not Figueiredo, but if Corey Sandhagen wins, I'd like to see him maybe make one last shot or like one good run at the belt. Even just
Possible.
Fight.
Well, Corey Sandhagen is at number 4, and Davison Figueiredo is at 5. So
I know it's a big
neither
fight.
of them are that far from title contention, and they're just a couple, probably 2 or 3 wins away each from getting a shot.
I'd say 2.
This could mean a decent amount for the bantamweight division.
Well, and it gives them some new contenders because 316 with Sean O'Malley and Merab.
Yep.
I don't know if it was just me that felt this way, but it kind of materialized out of nowhere. I didn't see anybody saying they wanted the rematch like right away, and then all of a sudden, Sean O'Malley hasn't Jade the Peen once this year, and
he smoked any weed, and he's ready to go.
An instant rematch, yeah.
Which is, it's as soon as I start liking Merab.
Oh yeah, dude.
I hated Merab beforehand, and then he
pretty
became champ, and I hated him because he beat Sean O'Malley, and I was a big Sean O'Malley fan. But then he won me over slowly but surely, and now I love the guy, and he's fighting Sugar Sean again. And I don't want to give away too much, but
preview.
I think Sugar Sean might have a pretty decent chance in this time around, especially if he ain't Jay and the Peen. And
I know must give them fucking
Superpowers.
superpowers or something. That was so relevant to what they were saying.
Yep. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this recap. Overall, I think it's going to be a good night. It's going to be another entertaining UFC night. And any night that we're watching MMA all night long can't be a bad night.
And after the Sandhagen Figueiredo fight, we finally get to see what's going to happen between Bilal
And JDM. Which that fight will determine a lot for not only the bantamweight division,
but potentially the lightweight
division as well.
But
and International Fight Week as well.
We're not going to get into that right now.
Nope, that's for next week.
That's for a later date.
But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you did like the content and you liked the picks, let us know. If you hated the picks and you hated the content, also let us know. Any engagement is good engagement. And we will catch you guys next week. Make sure that you guys check out our Instagram, our TikTok, and our other podcasts. We have 2 new episodes coming out as far as the plot twist side of this podcast goes. We're going to have a conspiracy episode where we talk about some Russian soldiers who turned to stone. And then we are also going to have an episode that talks about
Thunderbolts.
And
we play some games.
what kind of games do we play?
These really cool draft games with Marvel characters.
Oh, sounds like fun.
I'm not going to explain too much. Maybe you guys should just watch it.
Maybe they should just go check it out right now.
Yeah, you should go check it out.
It's a little shorter content, a little shorter form than this one is. But go check us out. All of our links are going to be in our Instagram link tree bio. You can find everything we have on there. It'll be in that link tree. But until next time, guys, we appreciate you guys for hanging out. We love you. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.